Hi everyone, I'm Red Hill Eagle. This is episode 4 of Who Hired a Hitman. This is the last Nitro before our big pay-per-view of Starrcade. So the final Nitro before Starrcade kicks off with an interview with Eddie Guerrero, hosted by JJ Dillon, and it's just a self-promo, again talking about the Cruiserweight Championship. There's nothing more to say about this one. Rating of 42. Ice Train then takes on Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho is definitely someone we want to start pushing. Maybe a bit young at the moment. I like to kind of give him a couple more years than what he is at the moment. So, but in the back of our mind, he's definitely a future star. So, start getting him on the card a little bit. A rating of 47. Jericho gets the win, by the way, in 6 minutes 41 by submission. Sid Vicious is then interviewed by Gene Okerlund. Basically, Gene Okerlund introduces Sid Vicious as a returning star. He is back with WCW. And Sid Vicious just gives a self-promo. Rating of 49. A news segment with Lanny Poffo, and he intros promos by DDP, Lex Luger, The Giant, Kurt Hennig, and Chris Benoit. Again, nothing more to say about it. Just self-promos, just a news segment. Get these guys on the card, get some promos. A lot of things went wrong with this one, I think. I didn't script anybody, but a rating of 52 altogether. Faces of Fear then take on Chemo and Ron Killings. So Chemo seems to be going through a few different tag team partners at the moment, but they're just jobbers. You know, it's just a way of getting Faces of Fear a victory on TV. Start getting them over a little bit. I've said before about starting to push some of these tag teams. And it's Faces of Fear that get the win. Meng forced Ron Killings to submit. And it's a rating of 46. Harlem Heat are then interviewed by Billy Graham. And again, just a self-promo. They also kind of put a bit of a promo on Faces of Fear. They have been feuding over the last, before the game started, it was an original storyline. So there's a storyline there between the two. And it's a rating of 49, just Harlem Heat with Billy Graham. And then Raven's Flock, featuring Raven, Hammer, Lodi, Kidman, and Saturn. They cut a promo on their current enemies, Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko. And it's a rating of 65. We then have a taped video of Goldberg, and it's just a video promoting his current winning streak. And that's a rating of 69. Ray Traylor then takes on Scott Hall. And, good heat but subpar wrestling. But Scott Hall gets the victory. He beats Ray Traylor in 7 minutes 22 by pinfall with a razor's edge. And again, it hasn't written it here, but Randy Savage came in and helped Scott Hall. He distracted Ray Traylor. And that's a rating of 62. And post-match, Scott Hall seems a little bit annoyed at Savage for helping him in the match. And it's reminiscent of when Savage was helped during his match a couple of weeks back, and he was a little bit annoyed as to what the outsiders were doing ringside. And Scott was like, I can handle this guy on my own. I didn't need your help. And Savage is, I didn't need your help either. I didn't need anyone's help a couple of weeks ago. So a little bit of an argument. Rating of 72. But the argument does continue to the backstage when they walk out, and Kevin Nash plays Peacekeeper, keeps it all together, and they walk away as friends. 88 total rating. Bret Hart is then interviewed by Billy Graham, and it's just a self-promo from the Hitman, really. And he also discusses why he rejected NWO's offer. And he said, first of all, they assumed that I was joining their group. Secondly, I don't need to be in a group. If I want to be in a group, if I choose to be in a group because I've got a group of friends or I feel it's for a good cause, then fine. But if I do that, it certainly will not be the NWO. They are the scum of the wrestling industry. A rating of 61. We then have 6-man tag team action with La Parka and Vicious and Delicious taking on Ric Flair and the Steiner Brothers. And it's La Parka who gets the win, and he pins Scott Steiner, illegally using the ropes for leverage. And that's a rating of 65. just want to get Parker over, really. I think he's about 31, 32, and I think it's time, really. I do like him. I've always liked him. He's got some good stats. I do want to push him up the card, so give him a victory like this. Hopefully he's got a bit of pop from this victory here. Stephen Regal then promotes the upcoming WCW live events. They've done this for a few weeks now. It's just to get another angle on there. It's kind of realistic as well. I'm using different wrestlers for the voiceovers though, so it's only a rating of 40. But I kind of realised that I hadn't used Stephen Regal at all yet, and again, he's another one that I should be pushing. You know, we all know in real life he turns out to be a pretty good wrestler, a pretty good worker, and I think he's definitely just worth pushing in the game. Quite how far I don't know yet, but I think he's probably at least got to be kind of US title standard eventually. So yeah, get him on the card, start using him. Backstage, Sid Vicious then attacks Bret Hart. Bret Hart's just walking along backstage, probably leaving the building after he had his interview earlier, and Sid Vicious just comes along and just decides to beat him up. And Hart's sort of struggling on the floor. He's in pain, and Vicious has a great big smile on his face when he's done. And as he goes to walk away, he puts on a baseball cap that says NWO. Rating of 82. The main event, Sting taking on Conan. And I've said before about Conan, I wanted to push Conan. I've always thought he's had pretty good stats in these games. I don't know anything about him in real life. I have mentioned before I never watched WCW. But I did discover that he's a freelancer in the game, so I can't get him on a written contract. So my idea to push him is probably out the window, but while he's around, I think he's definitely worth using. But Sting gets the victory here in just over 10 minutes by countout, and it's an overall rating of 74. But post-match, Sting is beaten down by the NWO. Hollywood Hogan, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall come out, and they beat Sting to a pulp and leave him lying there before they spray paint his back with the initials NWO and walk off. It's a rating of 76. Overall then, 71. Still very disappointing. I'm not getting anywhere near the 80 mark that I would come to expect for a big company, really. I've said before about the issues. I'm not making any excuses. The shows are pretty poor at the moment. I'm trying to tell a few stories. But I am also, I need to get some of these younger guys over. I need to start. The guys that are over, the guys that are stars, they're just not very nice people, are they? I mean, Hogan and Hall and Nash, they've all got creative control. They don't like putting people over. It's not the way to run a business. So I'm kind of in the process of not trying to get rid of them as such, but I think once contracts are up, gone are their creative control. And I want to be in a position where they will put people over. So a rating of 71 overall, not great, but we're still trying. We're still trying to get there. Next up is Starrcade. So if you want to join me for that one, I will appreciate it. If you've liked this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying what I'm producing. And I'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.